Yeah, just to pick up where Senator Mogeni has left, Prime CS, in fact, I had reached out to the Department on Diaspora Affairs on that question of Maragia, that gentleman in Burundi, on the 14th of January. And up to date, we haven't received any feedback. But about 6 months ago, you appeared before the Senate, Prime CS, when we were having a conversation about the situation in our embassies in the US. If you remember, you gave certain undertakings on staffing, the levels of staffing in our embassy in Washington, the situation about the slow processing of identity cards for Kenyans who are living in the US, the inadequacy of staff in the 2 consulates in Los Angeles and in New York. So maybe you can start by giving an update on that. Secondly, Honorable PS, you know, we Kenyans get shocked every time there are pronouncements on serious foreign policy positions by your government. We are a product as Kenyans of a struggle for liberation and for nationhood that has fashioned many of us to be believers in the freedom of every people to determine themselves. So it surprises some of us when you take positions that are contrary to that, you know, long-held position that we should support anybody who's seeking to be free, so that your position on Taiwan, your position on Palestine is a bit surprising. What is the guiding star for us as a country when we got ourselves involved in taking sides in those long-standing conflicts for independence of certain countries? And then lastly, there's a question of deployment of non-career diplomats in foreign missions, Honorable CS. This is a matter of grave concern because of the nature of the engagements, and I'm sure you've seen the jokes doing around about your visit to Rome. I don't want to go into them. I'm sure you've seen them. Because of the nature of foreign engagement, people are asking whether the people that we second to these foreign missions to run our foreign affairs should be the caliber of retired politicians and the others, that our foreign missions are dumping grounds for non-professional diplomats, if I might use that. And what is the government position on this, whether you have received those concerns from Kenyans and whether you're willing to do anything about it, or that you think the men and women that we are sending to these foreign missions are up to the task?
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to seek clarification from the Cabinet Secretary on failures by the Ministry to make the scholarships that are available in the Ministry public, and also the criteria they use in selecting these scholarship beneficiaries, and whether they publicize these beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one or two from me, Cabinet Secretary. Now, I really wanted to know whether you have a structure of movement of the scholarships from the mission to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and then to Ministry of Education, because that is where there is a bit of complaint that it's not actually reaching the right people. That is number one. Number two, there are so many opportunities that are there outside on international agreements, treaties and obligations. Some of them, they take too long actually for it to come from the missions and to the ministries. So it's good also to have a proper structure in place so that as soon as it lands, then somebody, or maybe there is a structure in place to take care of that. Now, the other point I wanted to raise is this labor outside, especially Middle East. We've been really crying about Kenyans being mistreated out there. We have tried to deal with the issues of the agents. I don't know what is the current status so that we stop actually Kenyans losing their lives abroad and again open more opportunities outside there. So what is the current status? Have you managed to actually ensure that the policies we have are very strict, procedures are followed, the right people are licensed to be able to recruit those who are looking for opportunities? Those are the few comments that I wanted to make. Finally, the issue of globalization and nationalism. Is it affecting our foreign policies abroad? I thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you. One of the things we'll do with my team here, I think we'll do a very nice comprehensive report to help in responding to some of these questions. Now, first of all, let me deal with the first one. Kenya's position with respect to China is that we have adopted a one China policy. And that is the partnership that we've had with China ever since, and therefore we do not recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. We believe in a one China policy, and that's the principle that has been guiding us, not just now, but to the best of my knowledge, each successive government has maintained the one China policy, and it is in our strategic interest that we maintain the one China policy. The other thing that I would then touch on is I do agree that the issue of staffing and to what extent we support career diplomats has been a major issue for us. And we have now integrated it in the sessional paper to guide that we would prefer a situation where, to maintain proper professionalism, the ratio of the diplomats should be officers who have trained and grown in the system to the ratio of 70%, and about 30% can be external infusion, because again, there's always some merit in injecting a few experienced people into the diplomatic system. You cannot be continuously incestuous, but the ratio we propose, and it is in the sessional paper, is 70 internal and 30 external. So we have now put this and built it into our policy so that it's no longer ambiguous. It now becomes public knowledge that that is the position. And it is our desire that this will now guide future nominations or appointments to the diplomatic service. We have also been grappling with underfunding of our various diplomatic missions. This is a fact because we have been going through fairly difficult physical positions as a country. And under the circumstances, the resource flows or budgetary allocation to some of our missions has been inadequate to the extent that sometimes some of the officials are put in embarrassing situations. So we intend to correct that. And one of the things that we have proposed and the Cabinet did approve and the Government of Kenya did approve is that whereas the budgeting process was placing matters of foreign affairs and diplomacy in the normal administrative processes, it should have been squarely within the security sector, because constitutionally matters of foreign are actually in the National Security Council. So we have now corrected that so that future budgeting processes will be in the context that matters diplomacy and foreign affairs, this is the first line of defense actually, In fact, that's why we are in the same committee of intelligence, security, and so forth. We want to be within that category, and this way, it gives an opportunity for higher ceilings within the budgetary framework, and it also reduces the possibility of arbitrarily budget cuts, which seriously impair foreign operations. Once you're out there, there's no way you can say that your neighbor will bail you out. Once you're out there, literally, it's you and your country. And therefore, we must make sure that the resource allocation to our missions is appropriate so that we don't put them in trouble. In fact, it can be a national security risk if you are to go deeper into it. Because if your diplomats are underfunded, there could be temptations. And in the process, very delicate information that could be of national security concern could be compromised. So these are areas that we have taken into account. And that speaks to the consular, our consulates as well, like in the US and other places. We have been stepping up our mobile consular services to try and help in accelerating the issuance of critical documentation for Kenyan citizens in different parts of the country. The US, Europe, and even the Middle East and other areas. This is an ongoing issue, subject to budgetary resources being available. We then plan for that through the Department of Diaspora. And we also work in collaboration with the Ministry of Labor. I want to assure the committee that we do not want to make foreign affairs a dumping ground. We would like to put our best foot forward in these countries as we are represented by Kenyans in various stations. And I just want to assure you that in Italy, the ambassador in Italy and the ambassador responsible for the Vatican, who is based in Paris, these are career diplomats. So the whole issue of somebody giving an impression that they are politicians is false information. They're career diplomats. And I was there physically. And I can tell you a lot of what is being bandied around is just people satisfying their own imagination. There was nothing like that. In fact, Madam Chair, I think there was a member of Parliament somewhere who was talking of candles having been lit and given to the leaders, and then the candles went off. It was in broad daylight. You don't need candles in broad daylight, and no candles were lit. No head of state had candles. And in fact, it would be a security threat if you are lighting fire where there are all those heads of state. So it is a figment of somebody's imagination for their own purpose. And all I can say is that the Pope's event, farewell, was an honorable, dignified process, very orderly. The Catholic Church programmers there had very clearly put order to how you come in. If it was a head of state, it was one head of state plus 4. That means they were not allowing anybody beyond that. And the people ushering in people were either at the level of cardinals or archbishops or bishops. So each delegation would be assigned one of those to usher you to where you sit. And so it was very orderly, and we want to respect the Catholic Church for a very presentable occasion. In fact, it would be unfortunate for Kenyans to try and belittle a process of this nature where the Pope was being given a dignified send-off. But the Honourable Senator has brought it to my attention, at least. I hope I've corrected this image that was doing the rounds from another quarter. I know it was not him. It was from another quarter.
Just on that issue, Prime Cabinet Secretary, the initial announcement was that Kenya was going to be represented by the head of parliament, the Honorable Speaker Wetangula. Was that information correct, or how did it happen that in the end our head of state was also present there?
The head of state was on a state visit to China, and one of the challenges was to process and finish the engagements of the state visit on time to be able to be in the Vatican. So the precaution was that in the event that the logistics would become a problem, then there was a plan B. Okay, but the president made it out of his engagements there, and I think we are covered in the sense that he represented the country at the funeral service. The data around universities, as I said, will share information. I have been very outspoken. My officers are here, and they know very well that one of the things that I really spoke to was exactly what the members are raising today, that we need to bring transparency to the scholarships that Kenya obtains from friendly countries. It's only right that we know what has been availed, and we also make available the processes. Even if we look at it from a context of maybe being able to bond the students to work for Kenya for some time as a way of paying back, we need to have proper records. And we need to show that every part of Kenya gets an equal opportunity when it comes to scholarships. And I was telling them that it would be very sad if we woke up one day and you found that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, as Minister for Foreign Affairs, has just dished out scholarships to his village in Mululu. It would be wrong to the entire nation. So this is something that I've been very passionate about, that we need to be more transparent. And as I said, we will be sharing this information. And transparency helps. So even as we go forward, these are issues that we can make clear with a template that can allow everybody to know who are the beneficiaries, even the names. This is something that should not be, it's not a military secret. This is something that should be within the public domain. I take the position of the treaties also very important, that they should also be made public after Parliament has processed. We are in the process of going digital on this so that one can access the portal and be able to know what treaties or what MOUs have been signed by Kenya and different countries. And then on the basis of that, if people want to engage within a framework of either investment or business, they can look at the kind of MOUs that exist between us and some of those nations. We have the Middle East issue and the question of the labor migration issues. This continues to be thorny, to be honest. Even as late as today in the other forum I was in, some of these issues still come to fore. That there's, in some instances, we have unscrupulous agents who mislead Kenyans, who even take away money from Kenyans and leave them high and dry in very difficult circumstances. Both the Ministry of Labor and the Department of Diaspora have been aggressively campaigning on this and also helping people to know the institutions that are credible. We are also working closely with the other law enforcement agencies where sufficient evidence has been gathered on some of these unscrupulous fellows. There's no option but to have them prosecuted so that they can stop endangering the lives of Kenyans. And there are some areas that we need to continuously working together to caution Kenyans that there are some areas that are literally a no-go zone. Without naming countries, but there are regions where human trafficking is rampant. There are regions where people can land into a situation where they literally become slaves there. And in very extreme circumstances, some of them could lose their body parts. So it's a very serious issue. But I can tell you the campaign has got to be wholesome at parliamentary level, at executive level, so that the awareness is brought to bear to the citizens, because sometimes when you tell somebody that don't go there, they tell you that you are frustrating their opportunities. But in reality, maybe you're trying to save them, and it becomes a problem. So there's work to be done there.